You know those stories that sound like they were ripped straight out of a Hollywood movie? The ones that are just too wild, too out there to possibly be true? Well, what if they were? Today, we're actually going to dive into the CIA's own declassified files to uncover operations so strange you'll have a hard time believing they're real.
I mean, seriously, just let that sink in for a second. Psychic spies? Vampires? It sounds like a total joke, right? But the crazy part, they actually did. And believe me, that is not even the weirdest stuff we're going to talk about.
So let's just get right into it. We're going to count down 4 officially declassified operations that really prove the line between some wild conspiracy theory and actual documented history is way, way thinner than you'd think.
All right, let's kick things off. Coming in at number 4 is the time the CIA literally tried to weaponize the human mind.
Yep, it was called Project Stargate. And get this, from 1972 all the way to 1995, the agency spent a cool $20 million of your money trying to train a team of psychic spies. The mission? To spy on America's enemies using, well, nothing but their thoughts.
The main technique they were working on was something called remote viewing. The idea was that a psychic, sitting in a totally locked, sealed-off room, could mentally project their consciousness to any secret location on Earth and just describe what they saw. I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right?
But here's the truly wild part. Every once in a while, it seemed to actually work. They had some seriously spooky hits, like one psychic accurately describing a top-secret Soviet submarine facility. But for every one of those amazing hits, there were just tons of misses. The results were so all over the place they'd often just get complete gibberish back.
So yeah, after more than 20 years and millions of dollars, the CIA finally just pulled the plug. The official word was that while there might be something to the phenomenon, it was just nowhere near reliable enough to use for actual life-or-death intelligence.
All right, coming in hot at number 3, we've got a story that sounds like an insane heist movie. We're talking a reclusive billionaire, a sunken Soviet sub, and a giant mechanical claw.
Okay, so picture this. It's 1968. A Soviet nuclear submarine sinks 3 miles deep in the middle of the Pacific. Inside, nuclear missiles, code books, the jackpot. The CIA wants it badly. The problem? How in the world do you retrieve a 2,000-ton submarine from the bottom of the ocean without anyone noticing?
The plan they came up with was audacious, to say the least. First, they cook up the perfect cover story. The famous eccentric billionaire Howard Hughes is getting into deep-sea mining. Then, they secretly build this one-of-a-kind ship with a massive, hidden claw designed to just snatch the sub right off the ocean floor. It was literally the world's biggest, most expensive, most high-stakes claw machine game ever.
So that was the grand plan. But the reality? Oh, the reality was a little different. The goal was to snag the whole sub in one piece. What really happened? The giant claw broke halfway up. Most of the submarine, including all the good stuff, the missiles, the code books, tumbled right back down to the bottom of the sea. Whoops!
And get this, for a little piece of trivia, when journalists eventually got wind of this secret mission and started asking the CIA questions, the agency had to invent a whole new way to dodge them. That iconic phrase, "we can neither confirm nor deny," was literally created for this exact operation.
Okay, for number 2, we're taking a sharp turn from high-tech heist to a supernatural horror. This one proves that the CIA will use absolutely any tool it can, and that includes folklore.
So let's go back to the 1950s in the Philippines. The CIA needs to clear out some communist rebels from a really key area. But here's the thing, they want to do it without a big, messy fight. So they got creative, really creative. They decided to weaponize a local legend.
See, in Filipino folklore, there's this terrifying shape-shifting monster called the aswang. It's basically like a vampire that drains its victims of all their blood. The local rebels were terrified of these stories they grew up with, so the CIA decided to make one of them seem real. And how they pulled it off is just chilling. First, their operatives start spreading rumors that an aswang is hunting in the jungle. Then they wait for a rebel patrol, and they silently snatch the very last guy in the line. And then they stage this gruesome scene, 2 puncture wounds in his neck, the body hung upside down, completely drained of blood. And they just leave it there to be found.
The effect was instantaneous. When the other rebels found their friend's body, they absolutely freaked out. They were convinced the monster was real. They panicked and abandoned their positions in the jungle in a matter of hours. The operation was a complete and terrifying success.
And now we have arrived, the #1 spot. This one is, without a doubt, the single most bizarre, the most relentless, and honestly, the most kind of comical series of covert ops the CIA has ever admitted to. It was an obsession that went on for decades.
Back in the 1960s, the CIA had an obsession, and that obsession had a name: Fidel Castro. Getting rid of the Cuban leader became their #1 priority, and it led to hundreds, literally hundreds of plots that sound less like a spy agency and more like something out of a Looney Tunes cartoon.
I mean, just look at this list. It's insane. They actually planned to give him an exploding cigar. They knew he loved scuba diving, so they plotted to give him a wetsuit lined with a flesh-eating fungus, a breathing apparatus dusted with tuberculosis germs. They even tried to put a special chemical in his shoes that would make his famous beard fall out, hoping it would ruin his image. They even hired the mafia, the actual mafia.
And after all that, all of those crazy, elaborate schemes, from the deadly to the just plain silly, what happened? Every single one failed. Not one of them ever came close.
And here's the punchline. The ultimate irony of it all? Fidel Castro didn't just outlive all the plots against him. He outlived most of the very agents who came up with them. He died peacefully of natural causes at the ripe old age of 90.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It really makes you think, doesn't it? That maybe the line between a crazy conspiracy theory and declassified history is, well, it's a lot blurrier than we'd like to believe. The stuff we dismiss as impossible might just be sitting in a government file somewhere, waiting to be seen.
Okay, so we've covered psychic spies, fake vampires, and exploding cigars. It's just wild. So I have to ask you, which one of these true stories absolutely floored you the most? Drop a comment below. I really want to know what you think.